Some bittersweet changes are coming at NCM. Brian Boudreau shares a special report.
I'm reporting from Murray Field, which seemed as the best place to wish the best of luck to my colleague and friend, sports coordinator Brian Dunn.
Whew! Nice. Thanks, Tim. With Thanksgiving just a couple weeks away, registration for winter sports is now open. An informational meeting was held on Thursday, November 8th, to go over details for the upcoming seasons.
Dunny started in the fall of 2018 at NCM as staff producer, but quickly showed his potential in the sports world with his sports broadcasts each week on Norwood News. Anyone who has had the opportunity to work with Dunny over the past 3 years can only think of one word: professionalism.
Brian Dunn hit the ground running his first day here covering sports. But what I think I'm always going to remember is how he managed the sports programming during the COVID crisis. Sports came to a complete halt. And we're always going to remember that, and we realized what we were missing. But when sports resumed, we were kind of on a limited basis where we could not do everything that we wanted to do. And the public couldn't come, the parents couldn't come, grandparents, siblings. So through Brian Dunn's guidance, we were able to step up and return sports programming for the community. And even better, what I'm always going to remember is Brian Dunn expanded our coverage to the Tri-Valley League and the opponents' teams, where we constantly got positive feedback about our coverage because these parents could not watch their children play. So in my mind, Brian Dunn made a lasting impression by covering sports during the COVID era, and that is always going to be remembered. And those files, those games, those great exciting wins are always going to be available for those athletes to watch when they get older.
And that's a recap for this week, but let me take this time to remind you, if not inform you, that we at NCM know the struggle parents and families are facing with not being allowed to attend games. However, NCM is proud to keep you covered all winter long with live sports coverage of every game, including JV and freshman basketball games. Our wonderful commentary team and NCM camera crews will be there to make sure you don't miss a second of the action.
So I loved working with Dunny because he's a great details person, right? And community media is all about the people, right? That's what community media is all about. And one of the things that people don't realize is that when a game goes along smoothly, it's because we're being cued back in the studio or we're 100% prepared, which was always the case with Dunny, okay? And I have a great example of Dunny's great attention to detail for you. So it's around March and we're in this COVID year where one day we're fully remote, the next day we're hybrid, no day is the same, all these changes. And I come down to the NHS gym to do my first volleyball game, and it's the KP game. And Dunny, of course, being Dunny, he always lets you know what's important, which sportscasters appreciate so much. And he happens to mention to me, he's like, Doc, remember that the away parents are not in the gym. They're going to watch the stream. So make sure that you welcome the away parents when you start the broadcast and throughout the broadcast. And I was like, oh my goodness, Dunny, I never would have thought of that.
Brian did an awesome job. He came to NCM 3 years ago when a lot of the local media outlets were kind of abandoning their sports coverage. So NCM really, filled that gap for our student athletes. And Brian really was the leader of that and worked really hard to kind of collaborate and work together and get out to as many games as possible and create the highlight videos and really, did an awesome job promoting the athletic program. And honestly, this year was so unique, and it was a lot of the groundwork that Brian had put in with NCM having that infrastructure really benefited us. A lot of the other communities didn't have that. And so, it was NCM and under, Brian's leadership with promoting the high school program was really set to go in a pandemic situation. We were so much more prepared than everybody else. And, the coverage that, Brian led through NCM, we were the class of the league for sure. And I bet we were probably class of the state as far as getting coverage.
Dunny's next play will take him to Coal Country out in Indianapolis, Indiana. A young songwriter from Indiana once wrote, "No, I cannot forget where it is that I come from, and I cannot forget the people who love me." Well, Dunny, the place where you come from will never forget you, and we wish you the best of luck in everything that you do, and it's been a pleasure working with you over the years. Take care.